It's time to get down to business on TK Business Live, brought to you by the members of the Topeka Independent Business Association. Now, let's join Tara Dimmick, owner and publisher of TK Business Magazine, as we take a look into the business world of Topeka, Kansas.
I have Becky Dickinson with me. She is with the Robb Company and Brookwood Shopping Center. Welcome, Becky.
Thank you.
It is great to have you on. So what is happening over at Brookwood Shopping Center?
Well, as you know, May 7th, yesterday, we just finished up. We had a quilt show that went throughout the center, which was just lovely. We had it last year, and it was just gorgeous. We are having soon the hoisting of our banners. We had a community art event a couple of months ago in November where we're a neighborhood center, and so we asked the neighborhood and the community to come out and draw silks. This was in cooperation with Carol Bradbury and Bloomerang, and those banners are going to be ready. They are bright and they're colorful, and what we wanted to do was just add some real brightness and color to the center. We just redid the whole thing in paint and kind of a renovation last year after 50 years, and so wanted to add a lot of color and reinforce the idea we are a community and neighborhood center.
You really are. I mean, you're right there. You're right. And, you remind me when I was a kid, I happened to live by a Dillon's, and it's amazing how a grocery store builds a community because that's where you go every single, couple days a week.
Yeah, it is.
And so there's so much that you offer, but you offer so much more by having the whole Brookwood Shopping Center there. So, okay, so I want to talk about these silks because these are awesome. And, it's easy to say something like, oh, we're going to, hoist these.
Right.
These things are made by people. They're all designed by and artistically designed by the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. We had people from all over the neighborhood. We had young and old. The kids just had a ball doing this. And we had older folks. We had one person who was an artist. The rest of the folks were not necessarily artists. But it was a fun event. We had a great day. And then, of course, Carol will be working with those to create the banners. And we're just really excited about it. This will kind of be our spring/summer event coming up. And, in July we'll have our sidewalk sale, and in the fall we'll have our Boo Fest and other events. But this is kind of the kickoff for the spring/summer. So we're excited about it. And it also helps to highlight the unique and local shops that we have at Brookwood.
Yeah. So when you're going to some of those unique and local shops and you see these banners, you know that there's so much more than just another banner that's up. They're full of love and heart and art and a real community that's happening over at Brookwood.
It is. It is.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And I look forward to having you on soon. Did you have anything else?
I don't right now, but we'll talk again soon, I hope.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tara.
I have Barry McGinnis joining me. He is the proud new owner of BTM Medical Transportation. And when I say new owner, it's really, this is brand new. So, Barry, welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you've been in this industry for a long time. So tell me a little bit about, where you came from and then about the new business as well.
Well, I've been in Topeka most of my life. I used to own Monarch Transportation, but just recently I formed BTM Medical Transportation, and I've been doing that for about 2 months now.
Well, great. So what is BTM Medical Transportation?
BTM Medical Transportation is basically for nursing facilities or private pay patients that are in wheelchairs or walkers that need transportation to and from the doctor's offices, and we do transportation for the hospitals as well as folks that are being discharged going back to nursing facilities.
Great. So what made you decide to get to start BTM?
Well, I really like working with people, especially the elderly folk here in Topeka. I pride myself in having a personal connection with these folks. I really enjoy transporting them around, and just a lot of folks just need help in that capacity.
Yeah, I bet you get to hear a lot of wonderful stories in the process of transporting people.
I do. I hear some that I can't air right now, but they're all really good stories. It's really good to hear from some of these folks that they can take you way back from a long time ago.
Well, great. Well, how can someone get a hold of you, or who might be the person who should be contacting you to get the transportation service?
Okay. Well, my main number is obviously area code 785-383-5084, and I also have a email address at btmmedicaltransportation gmail.com. And, if you call me by phone, I'll be the one that answers the phone. I work by myself, so there's no other employees or anything like that. So if you call, you'll be dealing with me directly.
Well, that's great. Well, Barry, congratulations on opening. Even though I know you have past ownership, it's always, I don't know. I know when I've opened my companies, it's always just this feeling of like, it feels good inside. It feels like things are a fresh start and nothing but up. So I hope you're having lots of good moments of seeing nothing but up.
It's been really great here in the last 2 months. A lot of the folks that I'm familiar with all of the nursing facilities here in Topeka, the hospitals as well as the social workers, they were really glad to see that I was back up and running again, and they're using me quite a bit. So it's been pretty good so far. Well,
that's great. Well, Barry, give us a phone number again. So if somebody wants to, get a hold of you, learn more about BTM and what you're working on, they can give you a call.
Okay, our phone number is 785-383-5084, and our hours are Monday through Friday from actually 7 to 5 p.m., and I do some after hours and also weekends. And it doesn't have to be just for medical transportation. It can be just about for anything. If somebody needs to go to a grocery store or hairdresser, it really doesn't matter. You can give me a call.
Well, thank you, Barry. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. So it's May 8th. It's the second week of May. We have the Small Business Month celebration that's happening thanks to Go Topeka and the Chamber and all the great organizations that have partnered together to let us celebrate our great small businesses. And I have Glenda Washington with me with Go Topeka and Kim Gronniger with Greater Topeka Chamber of Commerce. And we're going to talk a little bit about what is going on this week.
I want to invite everyone, if you haven't registered already, we're at the deadline, but we still can take some registrations. I'd like to invite you to the Small Business Awards Luncheon that's held on May 10th from 12 to 1:30 at the Capitol Plaza. If you haven't been to one of these before, it is very thrilling. It is, it's breathtaking because you see a lot of the entrepreneurs that you know or small businesses that you know around town being celebrated. So I'd invite you to come. Take advantage of networking with individuals around the community that have made our community great. And I think that small businesses are the fiber of any community. So if you are interested in seeing how we celebrate our community in the small business community in Topeka, please join us.
Yeah, it's a great event. Every year it's a great event. And I love the opportunity to get to celebrate these small businesses and just hold them up. And what I love so much about this particular event is that you really celebrate all the finalists. And I think that's such a cool part of this, is that it's about all of the businesses, not just the ones that win, but also about the ones that were selected and that whole process. So, all right, so what else should we be looking for this week?
Well, we're continuing our cash mobs, and so those are events where we basically have a couple of businesses. This week we have Home at Last at Farallon Plaza and Red Door Home Decor also at Farallon Plaza. And if you haven't been to these two stores, they're a real treat. It's a great opportunity to go in, find new decor for your home. You can find small purchases. You can find bigger items, furnishings, china, whatever you want, in addition to small knick-knacky type things that can be a nice accent piece for your home or office. I also think it's a great place for graduation gifts and seasonal gifts, and so both of those are really great stores to check out. And in addition, at all of our cash mob locations, you can register for $50 gift certificates. So a little added incentive to go and shop these small businesses that are locally owned and show your support.
Yeah, that's great. I might have to go down there. I think I still have some Christmas stuff up that I have yet to take down. My husband asked me the other day, why haven't you taken that down? I'm like, because my replacement is fall stuff. So I guess it's going to stay until fall.
Missed the season, yes.
They can help you out. I have no doubt.
I might be getting a phone call. Mm-hmm. All right. So what should we be planning for? What should we be thinking about that's coming up that maybe we should be, getting ready for?
First, I'd like for you to shop local. That's number one. Make sure that you shop a local small business during the month of May. If you shop a business, I want you to post it on our Facebook page, Topeka Entrepreneurs Facebook page. Let us know who you're shopping, and kind of if they have a special, let us know who has the special. That's cool. Number one. The second thing is that during that week, I think we should take advantage of making sure that we still get educated. So there are a lot of workshops going on as well. So take advantage of the workshops at the Small Business Development Center with SCORE or with 712 Innovations. There are a lot of educational workshops that are going on.
So, Glenda, with 712 Innovations, do you, for the workshops and things like that, do you have to be a member, or can you just go and attend a workshop? How does that work?
Well, some are member only, but it will say if it's member only. So we can go to their Facebook page. I'll post that as well, so that individuals who are interested will know that whether it's a member only workshop or whether it's a general public workshop. But the majority of them are for general public.
Great. And if you haven't been down to 712 Innovations, I mean, you really should take an opportunity, whether it's, oftentimes I know they were open last time I was at a First Friday when I was walking downtown, they were open and had booths and things like that to go check it out. And I took, my family comes down a lot. So my Great Bend family and my Winfield family, both of them happened to be there. And we all went down and we looked at everything. And I think they were pretty darn jealous that we had something so cool to be able to, manufacture this idea that you had and see if it actually would work before you have to try to go and find funding for it. So it's just such a great facility and workspace. So if you haven't been down there, use whatever opportunity. Call it because it's May and it's Small Business Month that you are going to go down and check out 712 Innovations.
So what we're trying to do at 712 is trying to create more entrepreneurs in the community. And it's an opportunity for you to go down there and take your family, but it's also an opportunity for you to go down there and hone whatever skill you have if you're anticipating being an entrepreneur in that area. So take your handiwork and make it a business. How about that?
Yeah. And the other thing, I guess, worth mentioning for me, because I'm not handy, so that's not going to happen for me. But I really think it's cool. I mean, I wish I was handy. But you've got this really cool creative space and fabulous chairs. And for someone like me who's all about chairs and pens and whiteboards, it's just awesome. And then a boardroom that is fabulous and perfect, and it's got all the technology you need to run a meeting. And so if you're one of those businesses kind of like me that's sitting in my house most of the time, this is the place where you can go and actually have all the facilities and the tools you need to give that professional look in maybe a presentation or something like that you've got going on.
Absolutely.
So it's great. Okay, sorry, got off track. Anything else we should be thinking about for Small Business Month?
Yes. Also, Entrepreneurs in L happens as well. That's an opportunity for small businesses to get together and network and kind of socialize. Entrepreneurs in L is on May 16th from 5 to 7. It's usually held at HHB. May 18th, Wednesday, May 18th.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's a great group. And as a entrepreneur, I have to say, fellow entrepreneurs are just they kind of help you have a little bit of sanity and a little bit of, feeling like you're not alone. And that there's other people that are as crazy as you are. And then also, also just, right there, you're talking to the owner. And so it's a chance to really build your business through talking with other owners who are going to be the decision maker on whether they want your product or service or not.
And it's also a cool venue with HHB Barbecue since they have such a great space as well. So it facilitates that dialogue and casual conversation.
It does. And HHB has been through so much. They are a great business to get any, if you're ever wondering about what should I do, you might want to talk to them.
That's right.
Yes.
Exactly.
So that's Wednesday, May 18th from 5 to 7 at HHB. That's 906 South Kansas Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else, ladies?
I think the only thing I would say about the cash mobs, I just want to make the point that you don't have to show up at a certain time to shop. You can shop any time during the day when the hours are open.
Oh, awesome. I didn't realize that. So it's more like Cash Bomb Week.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Very cool. All right, ladies, we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, thank you so much.
What is TIBA? TIBA is advice and support. TIBA is information and education. TIBA is a voice for small business.
My name is Tim Royer, and I work for Fidelity State Bank and Trust as a commercial officer. TIBA is an association of independent business owners. We're grassroots, and we're, again, looking to grow the community, looking to grow our business or the individual's business, and they're willing, again, to share. The people that are involved are willing to share their time and their talents and their experience.
The Topeka Independent Business Association is strong because of its members. Become a member today by visiting topeka.tiba.org.
I have Alissa Menke here with me, and she's the Vice President of Digital Innovation over at Jones Hewitt Partners. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Technology is changing, but it is so hard to feel like you can keep up with what companies are doing. So, I really want to hear about, what is going on online that we should be aware of. What is happening in that online world?
The internet is always changing. Social media is changing. The way that people are using the internet's changing. More so than ever before, you can't rely on the way that you've always done things. Even in the digital world. Okay, so 5 years ago, for the most part, I could reach my audience if I maintained a really good Facebook page. I had a basic website, and I ran maybe like a display ad campaign on my local newspaper or TV stations' websites. But now, between ad blockers and the way that Facebook's really wrenched down on the amount of organic reach any of my posts get, and then the way that people are using their phones to get to websites, if you haven't adapted with these changes now, you're not reaching anywhere near what you had been before. So we're really talking about this year making sure that your digital offerings and the ways that you're getting in front of people are a lot more diverse than they've ever been. If you have a Facebook page, continue to push content out there, but realize unless you throw money behind it, you're probably only reaching, 10, if you have a really engaging page, maybe up to 30% of your actual Facebook fans. People have said, yes, I want to hear from this brand. And you're not reaching anyone beyond that. So you need to start considering throwing money behind it. Moving on to your website, a regular website that's got this great desktop experience, if it doesn't translate to mobile now, you're late to the game because so many people are accessing the internet on their phones.
And only.
A lot of times it is only on their phones, particularly, some target audiences. If you're looking at, I'm a great example of this. I'm a millennial mom. I have a desktop at work that I'm doing work on. I don't get to do just leisurely internet browsing at work. All that happens on my phone at home in those little micro moments where I get a breath of fresh air. I don't have a kid, tugging at my pant leg wanting something. So I'm doing almost all of my shopping online, but all through my phone. I'm doing all of my news consumption on my phone. So you need to make sure that your website is something that has a strong mobile presence and is easy for me to read and to navigate. And if you don't, you're going to lose out on a significant chunk of potential customers for your brand.
Yeah. I was just telling Alissa before we came on that the TK website was slow when we launched the spring issue, and it was devastating to me to watch because I knew every second that it took to load was seconds that people were turning it off. They were moving on because they weren't going to wait another second. We are a society of a super short attention span and instant gratification. And if it doesn't load, it doesn't matter. Yeah, but I have to move on to the next thing. And then the other thing that people are becoming more and more savvy about, and these aren't new, but they're easier to get to. People know more about them, is ad blockers. Traditionally, they were on your desktop machine. You set it up through your browser so that none of those, annoying display ads or video ads would start playing or show up on your screen. It presented sort of a cleaner content front. But those are now rolling out to mobile experiences as well. And it's just one of those things where, in the past, that general buy would allow you to reach a certain amount of people. And now, because of these ad blockers, these are folks that are never going to see your ads. So you can't just rely on those display ads that you historically had. You can't even rely necessarily on a search ad. You need to start thinking about other ways that you can get in front of people, native content where you've gone out and you've generated this piece of content that supports your brand position, but isn't your basic, visually appealing, high designed ad. It is maybe, strictly copy. Things that have more entertainment and provide more value for the reader. The reason people download and use ad blockers is because they're tired of crappy ads. Right. And tired of being sold. Yeah. And they want more of an authentic experience is what I keep. I mean, even when my own personal experience, if it feels authentic, if it feels like I'm going to be motivated or inspired, then I'll let somebody sell me something. Yeah, I want something that shows me the person that was buying the ad understood who I am enough to show me something that was relevant. I want something that is aesthetically pleasing and that the message is on point. I want something that provides some value to me and is not just a hard sell. And, all of those things can be achieved through a really strategic buy. But at the same time, if I go back to just buying the typical display ads, no matter the level of targeting and layers of filtering that we put on there, if I have an ad blocker in place, it'll never come through to me. So again, it's about taking that step back from a digital standpoint and really looking at the landscape of all the things, all those touch points, to evaluate, are you still hitting the audience the way that you did, 3, 4, 5 years ago? And are you hitting them as frequently and with the messaging that you want to? And if you haven't made changes in the last year, I'm going to put money down that you're not there yet. Right. Well, you've missed the boat because it's moving faster than you can. I mean, it's moving faster than I feel like I can keep up. And I am focused on it. And it still feels like I missed it. Oh, my gosh, it's moving so quickly. The Facebook change where what you just talked about with the organic. If you're not paying for it, they're not seeing it. So I have a question for you because I'm going to get some advice here. So what I see it's still important to post. So it's still important to post because you're trying to stay relevant and then trying to figure out then what do you boost? Because you can't boost it. Well, I guess you could boost it all. But do you boost it all?
No.
Okay,
No.
I boost what I feel like needs to be shared.
Yeah, I think you have to be really strategic about the things that you boost. Boosting things puts your brand out. In theory, I guess you could make this selection so that you're just hitting your fans, but in theory, it reaches beyond your fans. So you want to make sure when you're boosting something that it is the representation of your brand that you want out there in front of people that maybe don't already have a relationship with you and would subtly invite them back to potentially, like your page. I don't think that you want to boost too much because just like anything, when people hear from you too often, one, they stop listening, and two, at some point, they just straight up turn you off. Things that are going to be naturally engaging, I am not quite as likely to boost because the nature of the engagement will increase the amount of people that it'll get to organically. Additionally, if I know that something is likely to be shared, or, sometimes we'll build things with the strategy that, upon this being published, we know that we have a whole network of people that are going to go out and share it because it's content that resonates with them and is important to them and potentially serves, different things that they already have going on. And so those I'm not as likely to unless I get a day or two into it and see it's really not picked up the traction that it needs to.
So is there anything negative? I'm more just curious about this. Now that people are starting to understand how boosting works, that comes with them seeing a post that says sponsored.
I don't know that there's anything negative as long as you're doing it. Again, it kind of takes that step back of, are you providing an ad that is worthy of their time and attention? If you're just taking the ad that you had, previously ran in a newspaper or ran in a magazine, or for that fact, a graphic that maybe was on your commercial on TV. If you're just slapping that in, you will end up doing more detriment to yourself in the long run because it's not going to perform well.
But that's what businesses are doing, right? The ones that don't really know how to be authentic and they don't know really how to have time to spend it on the social media side, they're doing a lot of that.
Yeah, I would really say if you're going to throw money from your budget to push something out on Facebook, really stop and take 2 hours to do a little bit of research. To me, the social space is so much more about storytelling. And, it is like the exact opposite of your typical sales thing. If anything about your post comes across as being salesy, it's going to rub people the wrong way. And that's not to say that there's not a time and a place for that, but one, particularly if that's the only things that you're boosting, it's not going to do anything for your brand. It needs to be a nice mix. It's just like anything. You don't want to constantly be sort of that talking head that is just pushing product. The glory of social media is that it gives people a chance to understand your brand at a different level. The culture and environment in which your employees come to work every day, and the values of your brand and the ways that you get involved with the community. And those kinds of things we know have an impact on the likelihood of someone like changing brands and migrating to yours, and then how long they'll stay with your brand. There's a lot of brand loyalty, particularly when you're looking at a millennial audience. If you can talk about the ways that you are working towards a cause or you're giving back and making the world a better place. Tom's shoes is the perfect example. It's not like their shoes have any significant, design characteristics or style or, whatever that is, just out of this world different than your average pair of shoes. But because of their initiative of giving back and, sort of that good vibe, that goodwill, it's had a huge pull and it's done so well for them.
Well, and you talked about the millennials and the power, and I've heard this talked about a lot just recently, but the power of them becoming basically your sales force. They will sell everything you have. If you market to them correctly and they become your champion, they will champion you right through success.
Absolutely. A millennial is all about, the thing that's always kind of, I am a millennial. It gets a little bit irritating to me when people would always say like, oh, you're such a selfish generation. we want to make a difference. We want to be helpful to people. And it may not necessarily be in ways that resonate as well with other generations. But when you look around at the way that we are growing up and how we're starting to raise our children, you'll see that we really are very socially conscious, and we really do want to make a difference and want to be a positive influence in the world, and are very likely to go out and actively be an ambassador for something that we believe strongly in. And so it is all about just like reaching out, particularly on a digital, space, because that's where we're at. And letting me understand how your brand, works outside of, hey, here's this great pair of shoes, and, for the next 24 hours, they're on sale for a third off.
Right. It's not a coupon anymore.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. We enjoy a good coupon. We like sales. But that's not the end-all, be-all anymore.
Right. Okay, so we could talk about this forever, so I'll have you come back and we'll talk some more. But before I let you go, talk a little bit about, I know I love this arena. I think this arena is fascinating. I've done more research in it over the last couple of years than I ever want. I've never thought I would ever spend this much time on it. But you can't not.
Yeah,
if you're in marketing, you can't choose to not.
It is the gorilla in the room.
Yeah.
If you're choosing to just ignore it, by now you realize it's not going away. Facebook is no longer an option that you can choose to ignore. If you're not in search, you've got to be involved in search, because at the end of the day, that traffic that comes through search is your, ultimate. They're right there. They're ready to make that decision. They're doing their last minute, research on the internet. They're ready to click buy. You got to be there. There are so many different facets of digital marketing, and new ones are popping up all the time. And so, it's really important. You don't have to spend tons of time on a regular basis, but I think it's a good idea to just check in and, reach out to TK Magazine and look at the blog posts that you've got going there. Reach out to your friends that maybe have a better understanding of digital. Jones Hewitt Partners, we do some things, that's pretty much what I do every day. Follow us online and just find those little nuggets so that you can start, building out your digital plan. And again, it's all about making it more diverse than it's ever been before. It's very much like back in the day, you used to be able to put an ad in the Sunday newspaper and run on one TV station, and you could cover, this local DMA, and everyone knew who you were. Anymore, that becomes so much more difficult because you've got people that maybe don't even have any level of local TV. They're doing everything via the internet. Or me, I couldn't tell you the last time I touched a printed newspaper. Mm-hmm. I read the paper every day on my phone. I get push updates through my email, on Facebook, but I'd never see your printed ad. Right. So it's all about staying on top of the times and having a really diverse set of touch points on your digital behalf.
It is a puzzle that is very difficult to figure out. So you mentioned JHP, so I want you to give it a chance just to, how do they get to your website? How do they get to the blog? Because you have a great blog going on that they can read. A little more information about JHP, because I know that when I start hearing this, it becomes this muddled mess of like, where do I even begin? And you guys can help with that.
Yeah, we can. So jhpadv.com is our website. Along the top navigation, you'll see a link that'll take you directly to our blog. I would say we blog about things digital probably on a monthly basis, if not more. And one of the things that's coming up, I'll start teasing it now, I guess. Hopefully within the next month or so, we're going to be launching a weekly podcast. Super, super short. We're talking 1, 2, maybe 3 minutes tops, where we will pick the main digital topic of the week and give just a short snippet so that you don't have to be doing all of the daily reading about, what's going on in Facebook. Should I figure out Snapchat? What does this mean? Come to us, listen to that short little podcast. You're going to get that little, nibble of information that you need so that you can feel like you're on top of things without investing, a couple of hours a week in reading, which is what I do.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining me, Alissa. It was great having you. Mm-hmm. And we will have you back because I want to talk about more stuff, and we've got plenty of topics when it comes to online marketing and online media. All right. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining Tara and her guests on TK Business Live. Join us again next Sunday at 11:30 to hear more from our community business leaders, entrepreneurs, and people making a difference in the landscape of how business is progressively moving forward in Topeka. TK Business Live is brought to you by the members of the Topeka Independent Business Association.